All right, welcome everyone. We got another special guest on the podcast today. It's number 117. Ludwig Ludwig Agren is in the building, man. Thank you so much for the time. I know you're a busy man, so appreciate it. Let's dive right in. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Happy to be 117. Honored in a way.
Yeah, hey, listen, I wish I've discovered I've come across your stream. I've been hearing your name. It just kind of your trajectory is high, man. You're blowing up. You got 20,000 concurrents easily on Twitch right now. Things look like they're going well for you. So, again, I said, thank you for the time. Let's dive right in. And my podcast is mostly poker players. There's some other, Twitch gamers, other kind of stuff, but give us a little background since it is mostly poker centric here. Who are you? What do you do? Where did you come from? And how is your Twitch so popular right now? What's going on?
A little bit of luck, good timing, some good stuff there. But yeah, I think I just have always focused on YouTube and variety. And, I originally came from Super Smash Bros. Tried not to get too pigeonholed in there. And the variety stuff worked out through like a bunch of different things. I guess that's how it always is, a bunch of different things along the way. And then here we are now. But I've known about you, Jeff, for a while.
Well, I'm honored, man. I know we followed each other on Instagram, and then I shot you a message and was just checking in. I saw you did have some poker success, so we'll spend a little bit of time. What's your poker understanding background? I think you took down a tournament somewhere. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what your poker experience is?
Yeah, I would say it's a little cheating because it's the tournament I took down was a sponsored one with ACR with only streamers who mostly were pretty inept. And I've taken it down a few times actually because of that. But I've been playing poker since college, and I watched it. I think when it was probably like the golden era of poker on Twitch. I watched you stream then. Jay Carver did. Kevin Martin. I used to watch Kevin a bunch. Back when they had the house together in Canada with Calgary, wherever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I super was into it. And then I was watching those streams every night. That was like the first thing I really watched on Twitch. And it was because I was actually, I don't gotta get in the weeds of it, but I was like running an illegal online poker group. But that was back in the day, Jeff. Statute of limitations.
We can edit
We're
that
fine now. We'll let it out. Let it in post.
It doesn't matter. It was, maybe illegal is a strong word. Maybe it was a gray area.
The rake was for the people at the end of the day, and you know.
And look at the studio and what you got now and where you're going. So
yeah,
it's all that's in the past. You got some background in poker. You have some experience. You like it. And speaking on college, I believe you went to Arizona State.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you did graduate?
I did graduate.
Nice. That's good. I mean, this is the thing now. I feel like Twitch, they're giving scholarships for different games and esports is blowing up. It's such a crazy world, but it seems now like so many people that I know, at least in this world, that poker or esports are kind of dropping out. Or they say, wow, I can make money, or this is fun, or I'm doing this, and they don't finish. So, that's awesome. That you did. Go ahead.
Yeah. I had maybe 1,000 subscribers on YouTube in college. So to drop out with that would be quite brazen. I didn't have this, I guess, the YouTube success to even attempt that idea.
Well, again, we let's take a look here. So we got, your YouTube community over 1 million. You got highlights pouring out here. You got your Twitch is over 1.5 million. We see your Instagram, Twitter. You're very active. Can you tell me a little bit about your team and what goes in place here? Because I imagine you stream and then you're not doing your editing. Do you have a team of editors? Do you have a manager? Like what all goes into your the team to make things happen for you?
Yeah, sure. So I have 2 editors because we upload daily, and so they every time I stream, we'll download the stream and edit it and upload it, and so I do all the titles and thumbnails because I kind of like forming how it looks. I think it's kind of important. But at this point, I'm probably not the best guy for the job. I'm just still kind of attached to it, And then everything else, I kind of just do. The only other thing I have is I hired my friend and roommate Slime to do all of my like tax business stuff because let me tell you, it's important, and I didn't care about it at all, so I never did it.
Right.
And by never did, I mean I just didn't pay my taxes for a while, and that's a problem. That's a problem, Jeff. I got to let you know. Don't know if you figured this one out yet. It's a pro tip from one streamer to another here.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my team. I guess we got a team of 4.
Death and taxes. Yeah, you gotta get
Mhm.
your stuff organized. Those things are they're definitely gonna happen at some point. Well, sounds like you're moving fast. And you kind of, talking about when you were at Arizona State, great place. Actually, I love Arizona, and I know that's a fun school. I don't even have to ask. That's
Mhm.
probably you had a good time there. Did you find it? Was it hard to do classes, find time to have fun and party? And when exactly did you get into Twitch? When did you decide you were going to start streaming?
Yeah, I was like into it, but I wasn't really doing it until after I graduated. I think I did the same thing a lot of people currently do, where they make an excuse for why they shouldn't start yet.
Right.
Like a lot of people are like, should I wait to start until I can do it full time, or should I wait to start until I have a better setup? And whatever the reason is, I made it at the time. So I never started until after I'd graduated. The only thing in college that really helped out a lot, I would say, is I was in a comedy club,
Mm-hmm.
and it was time consuming and a bit exhausting, but pretty rewarding, and ended up, I think, helping out a bit.
And talk about that a little bit with just starting, because for me, streaming poker, same thing. It was very difficult, especially with having to be out of the U.S., playing some of the sites and traveling around and doing the setup and all that stuff. And it's so hard to start. The same thing, like where my stuff is now, my even the editing, the logos, the camera, the equipment, the microphone, all these things, right? If everyone
Yeah.
look around and they walk to you or me and like, look, we got nice mics, right? We got cool stuff. You got a nice background. Things are like proper, but to
Yeah.
start, it's like hard to hit that button, go live, and know you're gonna have no one watching. And you may think you have an app for it, or you could be good at it, but it's a difficult road that doesn't happen over one day. What advice would you give to people in terms of that? Like just, to get going?
Well, it's a skill, You can't just jump into the Sunday million. It's a little bit foolish, a little bit ghoulish. So it's a skill. Even if your setup ain't the best, you'll get better at it. And then when you get to the point where, hey, I can buy a mic now because I've saved up, at least you'll be better at the whole streaming thing than if you would have never have done it and then got the mic and the camera, but you're still bad. Why
Right.
is it important to spend money on things when you're bad at what you're going to do? I don't get that. You should work on the skill first, hone the craft.
Right. I agree completely. And what is your, I know you're a very humble guy from what I've
Mhm.
heard, and I can already tell. I can usually tell in a minute or two of talking with someone. We actually never spoken before. So again, thank you for just coming on and
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure. I
getting.
mean, again, I think poker was really formative for me. I think all those guys back in the day who kind of all left and have come back briefly, they were huge on Twitch. I was sick, and I hope poker comes back in a way like that again.
Well, listen, man, I'll tell you what, it is, it feels like a mini second boom. There's, Michigan just passed. That's my home state. Now
Mhm.
there's real money being dealt there. Nevada, New Jersey, there's Delaware. They say Illinois, like there, New York and Illinois and Kentucky are on it. Like at some point,
Yeah.
it's just crazy, right? That you can gamble in other areas of the world. We're in the US. There's daily fantasy. There's sports betting is now federally legal, but poker, which is way more skill than any of that, it's just like so backwards that it's kind of frowned upon. I feel like the negative,
Yeah.
the stigma is starting to be lessened. People are starting to understand it more, and it's sort of becoming less serious. And I think that there will be an opportunity. I think it's going to kind of open back up. But yeah, and actually, just curious what you think about the delay. So when you stream poker, then I guess when you play this thing. You mentioned
Yeah.
the delay is tough because like that's something for me. I usually have a 5-6 minute delay. Some of the tournaments, the time makes it's kind of hard to really, in a way, to handicaps your stream to connect. You talk to someone, you have a conversation, they ask something, then you got to like follow it back up, or you can't really. It's bizarre. What do you think on the delay stuff? And is that a problem for you? Like, would that be annoying for you to stream poker and have a delay?
I've never really used a delay. I maybe a couple times I did like a minute or two, but for
Right.
those tournaments I do, it's only influencers who are all sponsored to be there. So I think
Okay.
the idea of them stream sniping me, even if they do it, I mean they're clowns in a way. So it's
Right. Okay,
like,
that's way different, right? If
yeah,
everyone's in there and they're all streaming kind of live and it's an understanding, you're having fun and it's for a thing. Yeah, it's different than playing, like a real money cash game or a big tournament and you
exactly.
can't Scouts honor at some point, doesn't
And so like I've done my own tournaments as well, where I invited like a bunch of friends who played Smash. And actually, if you just look up Ludwig Poker Smash on YouTube, those videos did pretty well, and that was cool because I think that was kind of unique. Where yeah, the 1650 one, it's right there. Um, that was unique, I think, because it was like a decently high stakes game with no delay at all. And I didn't realize how unique that was until we had done it. And it was a lot of fun. But then there's another problem in that you still can't look at chat even if there's no delay, because there will be people who will talk about other hands and stuff, you know? So the
Interesting.
delay is a problem. I don't exactly know the solution for it. I know there is one because
The
'cause I
whole card,
watched.
right? You can put your whole cover your whole cards and take it on and off, kind of.
Yeah, I know that the whole cards covering I still think is not the best solution. I think the delay is even better, but like I think the product of streaming poker is sick because inherently the farther you get into the tournament, the higher the stakes, the more exciting it is.
Right.
And it's so unlike anything else. I mean, it's like making it to the top final 3 of like a battle royale. And that's part of why battle royales would pop off, is because, you know, there's this inherent stakes that increase. So I think it's inherently great in that sense. I do think it struggles because of the delay, but even like a recording of someone playing through a tournament still is exciting in a way. So I think it's not the worst thing in the world, really.
For sure. I agree completely. A lot of you are here. I see questions getting put in the chat. We are going to give you guys a chance to ask. I'll try to take a few at the end here. And if you guys want to ask, I'm going to give away $100 in BTC today. So get a retweet out, get a question, whether we answer or not. You will be eligible. Now I'm going to give someone $100 in BTC at the end of the stream, which will do the giveaway. So yeah, guys, get that in, get your questions in. I see a lot. Hopefully we'll get a few. Let's dive into then your rampant success. How did what happened from when you started? You get out of college, you know, you get on. For you, is it something you just loved, and it was like did you really not look at the numbers, and was it like steady for a while at 100, 200, 300, 400 viewers? And like, what caused you think to just kind of rocket at the trajectory you're out on? What was there a specific stream, event, a host, a raid? Is there a moment, or just consistency and just sort of you got the right skill set and tools for it?
Yeah, I think growth is not very linear. It's kind of like, you know, there's a catalyst and then it'll be flat for a while, and then there's another catalyst. And that's kind of the idea. So you just have to make sure that you do enough things that there will be a catalyst to jump you. And I think there's only 3 ways to grow, and it's a collab, it's a big event, and it's through outside sources. You know, whether that's originally my growth was because I would grow my YouTube channel, and then people would come to Twitch, and then it was because I did some big events, you know, whether it was like Pokemon Week or when I made a music video. And then, you know, obviously now I'm big enough where I'm able to stream with people like Corpse or Technoblade, and that will grow the channel itself. So it's easier for me now, I'll say, to grow. The bigger get bigger. But those are the main 3 things that have worked for me.
And tell me a little bit about why Twitch, because, you know, we saw Ninja went over to Mixer. Microsoft tried this. They paid a big amount of money. I think some other main name streamers at the time. I guess that platform, it didn't work out, or they shut it down. Is that right? Or I don't know what happened.
Oh yeah, no, they got shut down. Yeah, they lost a lot of money, Jeff, and Microsoft said no shot, shut it down, and they paid out Ninja and Shroud in full. They made out like bandits.
Wow. All right. Well, interesting. So let's talk about what is working, YouTube, and some people do the multi. Can you hear me?
No, you're good. You're good.
The multi, you know, multiple streams at once. I know some people do that, and talk about why Twitch.
Oh yeah.
What other options are there? And YouTube, I think, you know, being partnered, obviously, like we're partnered on Twitch, we can have subs, we can do these things, and there's contracts. Is that at some discussion though? How do you break that down and decide, you know, and consider some of the other platform options?
Let me tell you, considering other platform options is smart, and multi sounds smart. Jeff, I'm not that smart. I just picked Twitch because I was like, hey, that's where I watch poker and Smash tournaments. So that's where I'll stream. That's where you stream on Twitch. Right. It wasn't really a viable option to stream on YouTube, I think, even 4 years ago, when I was getting started.
Right.
So, you know, maybe it was there, but it wasn't big. No one was big doing it. So I didn't even consider anything else. You probably should. But I'm not the guy for it. That's like a Devin Nash, you know, Harris Heller question. The nerds.
I honestly don't know either. I just know for poker, that's what everyone does, and it's like it's nice to have the Twitch sponsored by partner and get sub, have that option. I think that's sort of an exclusive. I was just curious if for gaming, if that was like something right now, that if it was like a competitive thing. I really am not as familiar with YouTube, but
I think YouTube is definitely popping off and it's growing very quickly. And I think it's a very viable option, super viable. I think pretty much everything else is kind of a meme. And by everything else, I mean Facebook, but
Right.
maybe it will be less of a meme. You know, at one point YouTube was a meme and Twitch was a meme. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not an innovator, but people in chat might be, and that's the road you can take.
It's a crazy time to be alive. I'll tell you what, sports cards, crypto, Pokemon, all these different alternative asset classes that are kind of happening. And what is your kind of feeling? And you're young, man. I'm 34. I guess you're what, 25?
You're 34, Jeff?
Yeah, it's old.
Jeff,
right?
you look phenomenal.
I'm fresh off a workout today. I feel good.
Okay.
Thank you. And I have a 2-year-old son. I'll tell you what, poker and children, that is about as stressful as it gets. I'm waiting for the grades to start popping in, and it's stress, man. It is for sure. And I'm like old for a streamer, right? Like that's the thing you're saying about poker,
yeah,
or whatever. Like I don't stream as much. Like I like to stream. I can't stream when I'm in the US.
Sure.
For the Party Poker who I'm sponsored by, and I ACR obviously I once in a while do, and I've played, and whatever. There's some options, but it's just one of those things where it's different. Like 34 is kind of old to be a streamer. I think like you're in the sort of prime time. I
think it is. It swings older from like the average, but I don't think it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like I think it's totally fine.
Not like that guy at college parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when so no, for sure. But what is your I guess kind of ultimate goal, passion? Are you able to, like, do you want to do broadcasting? I know you actually, that's how you kind of got into this stuff. Were you doing broadcasting or for shows or events? Is that sort of like before you were, or had you started Twitch and then you started doing these broadcasting gigs?
I did some during Twitch, like while I was already streaming. But I would say that my goal has always been to be, I think, at least in the back of my head, the largest or one of the biggest streamers. And that bar is rising so fast, faster than I can grow. Because back when I started, it was where I am now. So, I should have been done, but now there's 16-year-old kids with 200,000 viewers, and that's tough to beat. I'll tell you what, that is tough to beat. So at this point, I'm just kind of doing my thing. And eventually I think I'll switch off of Twitch and YouTube, which are very, short term, I think, forms of media that don't have a lot of longevity to them, and maybe switch over to a more conventional one.
But is it something that, like, would you be interested in? What's your passion in terms of sports, or would you want to broadcast or be an do something on ESPN, or do you kind of look at it like that, or you just kind of like, you're enjoying, you love the Twitch interaction, the live sort of feel and vibe, and
yeah,
going with that right now? Or is there
something
that,
not? Like, I don't have a 5-year plan. I mean, I guess I do, but I'm still on it. I guess I made a 5-year plan 3 years ago, and it was to stream for 5 years. So I'm just doing that. I haven't thought about what after, and I think I haven't even put a thought into that. I'll have to do something surely, because life will have to go on, but I don't know what it'll be yet.
Absolutely. And tell me a bit about the challenges, or sort of the, I find, and I've been in kind of like the matrix, like a warp where, like especially poker, I'll stream for 12, 14, 16 hours during series or long weeks of streaming. I get kind of burnt out, and then like life happens, right? You're streaming, you got all the emails, now you got your manager, this and that. They want to ask you, hey, do this, or, I'm blowing you up. Hey, come on my podcast. Is it hard for you to say no? And how do you sort of pick what you want to do exactly? Because I'm sure at this point you have so many offers, so many different things. How do you kind of decide, like, all right, no, I'm just going to stream here and I'm going to do some of this, I'm not going to do that? Who do you have a problem with that, or is that something you're able to do?
Yeah, I think a bit. Actually, the bigger problem was when, like, a lot of collabs are happening on Twitch now. It's kind of like the meta to do a collab with a big group, whether it's Among Us or Rust or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was saying yes to like all these friends I made online. And then I was like, damn, I have this scheduled at 2, this scheduled at 4, this scheduled at 6. And when am I just going to like stream and chill with chat? And so I had to start saying no to, like, the first people I had to start saying no to was like friends, because it basically was cutting into stream time.
Right.
And so I just had to like not do as many Among Us groups or whatever it was. And that was the main thing. I mean, I definitely get a lot of emails, and I think DMs, and I just have to ignore most of them. But, in your case, I was following you because I already know who you were. So that was easy. I saw it. It popped up in a more convenient spot. And I was like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, well, again, I appreciate it. This is it's great to get to know more about you. And again, I do want to make sure at the end we leave some time because there's a lot of good questions, some that I wanted to ask as well. And when you sort of like looking at the mental health aspect of streaming, and do you ever feel
Mhm.
how do you decide? Because for poker, there's like a kind of easy way to cut off, right? Like I'm in tournaments, when I bust out, I go. How do you do you set a time? Do you feel the energy, how you're feeling, and decide like what do you when you go live, like today, I don't know, are you streaming later today or
Yeah.
tomorrow? So when you go live, do you say like I'm going to stream till 8 p.m. whatever, or it just varies every day, or do you actually have a schedule when you stream?
Yeah, I've never been a live for set amount of time guy. I think that's the wrong way to do it. I think you have
I
to
think
go
so
live
too.
with purpose and with goals to achieve in mind or content segments to do. And
Hmm.
so I'll just end when I am done all of my content segments. And that's pretty much it. So like today, I'm going to be doing a collab with Geo Wizard, and then I have to end to do a tech rehearsal. Then I have a show tonight, and then I'll do the show called Hive Mind, the one that I do with Charlie. And then after that's done, I'm done. You know, maybe I can play a couple of games of Valorant if that's what I was going to do offline anyway. But you know, when I do the segments, that kind of dictates how the stream goes.
And so how would you, someone who's watching is maybe not hasn't come across your stream, explain what you exactly stream? You're doing variety, just chatting, you play all different types. I see you got chess here
Mhm.
on the cover, like or one of the recent ones, and chess, obviously Queen's Gambit. I had
Yeah,
Miss Botez on recently, and chess is fascinating to me. It's one of those things that's just like kind of funny, that's just like blown up again out of
I
nowhere,
love
right?
chess.
It's a
Yeah,
great game. It is. It's, and especially if with the speed and the time of it versus like it's boring if two people don't know how to play or someone's taking
for
forever.
sure.
But it's a beautiful game, just like poker, just like backgammon. These type of games, they're fun, they're fast, and they're skill and luck. The combination, I guess, chess a little less luck, right? You're gonna lose most of the time to a
Yeah,
better player,
I think
but
that's the sick part of chess is you will probably always get stomped by a better player. Like I could play 1,000 games against Hikaru. I don't think I'll ever beat him.
right. And that it's kind of fun though, because though too, with hard work, and if you improve and study and whatever, you
Mhm.
can get better. But so tell us a little bit about what how would you describe your stream in particular? What can people expect exactly when they go on your stream, or is it just always different?
Oh, I try to not do any one thing too much. You know, the one thing I've probably done the most is Pokemon, and I haven't done that in a while. And then after that, maybe Among Us, and honestly, just chatting is the largest category for me still. But I don't like to do any one thing. I think variety is more fun, and I think if I get too successful with one thing, it gets really hard to do something else because you'll see the numbers dip and all that. So kind of like bouncing around.
What is this? Someone in the chat here saying number one Google search. What does that mean? Are you the top Google search or in the category or something? Is that
Oh,
mean anything to you, or is that?
maybe okay. Can you pull up Google Images
Yeah, let's go over there. Let's figure this out. I saw. Okay, just type
and
in.
then just look up tax fugitive? No, just tax fugitive.
Okay.
You can keep out the Ludwig, and then images.
Oh, okay. There you go. So what is this about?
Well, you know, Jeff, the thing about being live on Twitch is that you give a lot of power to the people, and people with power don't often use it for good or for bad. They're very chaotic. They're very chaotic online. So,
Right.
you know, they decided to make me the front page for tax fugitive if you Google that one.
Wow.
And that's been the case. So let me tell you, I actually did not have my taxes paid before this happened. And then after this happened, I paid them quite quickly.
Wow. Interesting. That's interesting how that works. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's all right.
Actually,
Well, fair
I
enough.
should say thanks to Twitch chat.
They got you, maybe bailed you out from what could have been a bigger problem later on. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're organized, and your team's got that covered. So okay. And what is your superpower in streaming? Is it consistency? Like I think I was kind of touching on this earlier, but like in your mind, and again, you're humble. I don't want you to, this isn't like, I don't want you to brag. I want you to just tell me, like, what do you believe?
Sure.
Like, what is like that you think you bring that separates yourself from the majority of streamers, and why you have been able to take off like this? So give yourself a pat on the back. What do you do well?
Okay. Yeah, I'm down. Well, I stream correctly. I think most people who, at least when I started for sure, streamed like you were supposed to stream back in the day, where you just go live for 8 hours and do whatever. And I've always streamed with the intention of making a good YouTube video out of it. which is important because I think YouTube is the best way to grow. If you're just looking at platforms, you know, you're not going to grow from just a live stream because how are more people going to find you? You know, the way I do it, I'm just making variety content and just chatting. I don't have a top final table I can get into that I can put in my title. I'm just doing whatever. So I think I've always done that well and always understood that that's the important factor is streaming for a good YouTube video. And the YouTube video pops off, then people want to see the process of making it, which is the stream.
Right. So it all kind of ties together, cross on different platforms, and everything sort of works together. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I see that in November of 2019, you set the world record for button mashing minigame domination, Mario Party 4. What does that mean? A world
That's
record?
true.
That's pretty
well, world record, admittedly, it was a world record because I am the one who got the developer or a developer to create it basically. Because it was a capped game. And so I made him take off the cap for Mario Party. And then I was the first one to do it. And I was really good, admittedly. I don't think most people could do what I did. I was beaten quite shortly after by Silver Boxer by a wide margin. He's the GOAT of mashing. But for a brief period after I set it up, and hey, credit to the man who sets it up, I was the first to do it, first to get there. I did get a world record.
Very nice. That's not easy to do, man. So that's exciting. And what is Twitch Jeopardy? I saw some notes on this. I actually haven't seen this, but do you host this, or is this a thing you take part in? What exactly?
It's a show I hosted. Actually, I haven't hosted it in over a year now. But it was one of the first things that really popped off for me on YouTube. Again, it's like an idea I created on stream and wanted to make a good YouTube video out of it. And I used, some friends I had, some connections I had in the Minecraft world for it. And it's basically Jeopardy, but on Twitch. And the only twist I had is that it was 2v2, and then the top two players would do Family Feud at the end because I always thought Family Feud was really fun.
Right. Okay.
The little fast money part of Family Feud.
Very cool. And what is your target audience? Would you say, what's your demographics? You get your stats on Instagram or whatever, and you see Instagram, Twitch, you kind of know what what's your main core?
Sure. I haven't looked in a while. I think these numbers are always a little bit off. I don't know if you feel the same. Do you feel like they're always a little off, but it has 18 to 24 is the largest and 25 to 34 is the second largest, which I think is probably accurate. That I have like mostly probably high schoolers, college kids, and then definitely some above and below that. But I think that 8-year group of freshman high school to senior college is definitely the bulk, I think.
That makes perfect sense. And you mentioned Pokemon, and that's actually pretty hot topic these days. How in tune are you with the Pokemon cards, collecting, the trading, and the sports cards? Because
I was big in it, Jeff. I was big. I was in the game, man. But I was in it for the love. I was in it as an addict. But I ran something called Pokemon Week where I got basically like 7 streamers to open one vintage box, like 30K a box. Okay. And everyone would open it every day and everyone could restream the opening. I basically try to get myself free content and have my friends buy all the Pokemon cards.
So you're part of the craze. You're part of this, part of the
for sure.
Up, no doubt. I mean, that type of sports cards, again, your age is, I'm trying to even figure out what that would be like, but I know when I was a kid, so I'm 34, when I was a kid collecting like early 90s basketball cards, baseball cards, stuff like that, and it's kind of worthless, right? Like that generation, if you go into like mid 80s, like the Jordan rookie year 86, some stuff before, and the vintage, it's pretty high end. And I don't know if you caught what the Jordan 10 sold for the other day. It was $738,000. This card was 20 grand January of 2019. So I mean, it's like talking about 35x, and a lot of that stuff's really blown up. And I'm just curious if you believe, Bitcoin, crypto, and what your sort of friends and your core, like, are you a proponent? Do you like the crypto? Do you think it's real? Sports cards, is this Pokemon stuff? Do you think that's like real value asset, or are you kind of like, I don't know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think real just means like, will other people believe it? Yeah, that's all it comes down to. But I guess if you have to question it, it is not as viable as something you don't have to question. Because I don't think anyone goes, hey, is this stock market thing real? So sure, it is. Yes, totally. I mean, the value goes up. People do believe it's real, but
supply and demand. It's really supply and demand, right? That's 101 economics.
I usually don't I don't think of Pokemon cards. I mean, it is, but I don't think of it as like assets. I just think of it as like nostalgic and fun to crack. Because I'm never the guy who's gonna hold them and sell them. I'll just hold them until I die, and my grandkids will be very confused.
Exactly, right? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's like fun too to sort of hold and just see what happens, kind of like wine, or get a couple boxes or have some
Mhm.
stuff and later down the road. Speaking of kids, I should ask you this before we got on the show, but I feel comfortable enough to ask you, and I don't know.
Sure.
Are you in a relationship? Are you single?
Oh, yeah. No,
What's
I'm
going
in a
on?
relationship. I look, I gotta clickbait that sometimes on YouTube. I'm dating Cutie Cinderella,
Okay, very cool.
another
And
streamer.
you're you're okay. Well, guys, check that out for sure. And this is too young probably, but what about like kids? Do you think one day is that something you're interested in, or or
Jeff,
no idea?
Jesus,
I mean,
Jeff.
let's get deep, man. These guys, I'm seeing people
I'm
are
25 here.
yeah.
This is
Let's
too
live a
early for
little.
me.
Listen, I know, but you never know, man. Things happen. I'm just saying, is that in the
Jeff,
future?
I'm commando right now because I haven't done my own laundry. What is my kid gonna deal with? What are they gonna fill
All right.
diapers 9 to 5?
We'll catch that on the next podcast go around. We'll
Yeah,
touch back on that. Fair
get me
enough.
on the next circuit. Next circuit, please, please.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that. Fair enough. And tell me about charities. I see you raised, I believe, in one of your tournaments, which I want to understand a little more about. Your hosting
Mhm.
tournaments or doing this. I think you raised over $250,000 or in that neighborhood
Yeah.
for charity. So that's pretty cool. How did you choose the charity? And is this something? How regular are you doing that?
Yeah, I do charity streams every like couple months, few months. I don't want to do it too much because it does require people in chat to be generous, and I think that I don't want to abuse that. But we've done it for the last one was for the charity tournament, which is basically for Super Smash Brothers Melee, which is a community I came from originally.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an esport, and they've been having a tough time because the developer Nintendo is not very kind. They actually cease and desisted a lot of online tournaments because of the way that they function.
Right.
So I decided to run one, and I said, "Fuck it! If I get cease and desisted, it'd be a good YouTube video." And I decided to make it for charity. That way, if they cease and desisted, I could even make them seem more bad. You know,
Right.
uh,
That makes sense.
and that was pretty much it. That's how it started, and people kind of got on board because if there's anything that rallies people together, it's saying "fuck you" to the man. And in this case, the man was Nintendo, multi-billion-dollar company, and that was it.
And when you put on the charity tournament, that's something have you found? Because my experience with doing events, like I did one of the put together with Jamie Staples. We did this actually Beyond the Summit. Are you familiar with them? I think they're
Yeah.
pretty big in Super Smash. So they helped us put on this event, the big deal, and it was like 48 streamers, a knockout tournament where you get the host
Yeah.
knockout, and it was fun.
I remember that. My roommate actually did all the, I think, OBS stuff for that. He did all the tech stuff behind it. Yeah, all my roommates work at BTS.
Oh, great. Yeah, they were awesome. I had a really good time and being involved with that. But I mean, just seeing the process, it's very complicated to get a hold of everyone to organize it. It's not something,
Oh, that sounds like a hellhole. 48 people.
48 streamers, teaching them like,
Yeah.
Some don't know about delay, how it works, and some don't, it was a process. But I'm just
For
wondering
sure.
for that part of it, do you enjoy organizing stuff, or is it kind of tedious, or just one of those things that's like, like you said, you don't do it all the time, maybe a couple times a year.
Jeff, I'm lucky. I have slime, and so if I have something like this that I've thought of, all I did is I tweeted it out because I was like, this would be a great thing to do.
Right.
And then Slime saw the tweet, and he's like, oh fuck. And then he had to do the work of getting it done and getting the tournament set up.
Right. Okay, I get it. Yeah, no, it's nice too, and you can stream and do what you love, and then you have a good team, and that's something too. You got to have good help. You got to have good support. It sounds like you do have a really good, sort of a structure with what you're doing. And I mentioned mental health earlier, and unfortunately, like Reckful, he had suicide, passed away.
God bless.
Yeah. God bless him. I met him at an event before, and it was nice. It seemed like a really nice guy. And you hear about this with Twitch, and people get burnt out and people get overwhelmed. And streaming is a unique thing because you're basically talking to a camera. Yeah, there's people engaging or whatever, but you're basically kind of alone and for periods of time where you're just talking to the computer, if you will. So how do you sort of find yourself to not burn out? And also when you're streaming, it's like, all right, you're going to click live and have 15, 20, 30,000 people watching you. It's kind of it's it's electric, it's endorphins, but you kind of worry, like, do you have trouble? And COVID's been bizarre too, so that's like now it's a kind of different time in the world. But like, let's say when things get back to normal, do you find it hard to think about, I'm going to go on vacation with my girlfriend or go to visit my parents or go on a trip for 2 weeks? Like, it's kind of hard to disconnect, I would say, and at least from my experience and others that I talk to, because you kind of know that you have to be consistent. You have a nice thing going. So do you feel almost like trapped in a way, or how do you kind of like find time to disconnect?
I mean, I feel fine about it now. I think that it's definitely something that people are concerned about, and I was, but every time I see people taking breaks, they usually come back a little bigger. So
Yeah.
as long as you're doing something on, like, if you take a 2-week break on Twitch, it's fine, but you should probably be uploading YouTube videos that you've set up for that 2-week break.
Yeah.
That way there's not nothing and you're not disappeared off the planet. And even if you are disappeared off the planet, usually you can come back from that too. So
Right.
I don't see it as a big problem. The biggest YouTuber in the world, PewDiePie, takes a month break every year and doesn't really hurt his status. So, yeah, I don't think it's a big deal as long as you have something big for when you come back. You
Right.
got to come back and have something that people are excited for. You can't just come back and do it as usual.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with that. And what platform socially, with Twitter, Instagram, like what do you enjoy the most to kind of keep people updated, and where should people here watching, what's a good place for them to follow along with?
Oh, I'm terrible. I barely post on Instagram, and my Twitter I don't post too often either. But usually, if I'm gonna keep an update, it's probably just in a YouTube video because I upload daily. I mean, that's the one thing that even if I take a day off Twitch, haven't taken a day off YouTube in 500 days, I think, or something.
Absolutely. And in terms of sponsorship and deals, and you mentioned you've done some collaborations with poker. What are the chances we could get you patched up with Party, or would you have any interest coming to a live event, Bahamas, when the live stuff goes? Would you like to play a live poker tournament? Like,
Yeah.
What interests you in the poker world? Like, do you want to play the main event? Do you want to go to travel the world at all? Like, what would be fun for you with poker?
Oh, I for sure would love to. I mean, I just like playing poker. So, I definitely want to do the main event at some point when I think that that's like, something that's probably next year or maybe this summer, hopefully.
Right.
With my roommate, because Slime also loves playing poker as well. So, I'm really down for anything. But the main event is the one thing that we've definitely talked about and will do at some point.
That would be a fun vlog, or kind of like series of YouTube videos with that. But you would be, it's like a week, or I mean, if you go deep, it can be up to a week long. So it's a pretty big grind.
Oh, and we're going deep, Jeff. I mean,
right. You're gonna come rested, do your ice bath, be up, not miss a hand.
Yeah,
all that. I get it.
I would tell you a part of my stakes here, but it might be too expensive for you. It's just, we're going all the way. We're going for like at least top 3 here. So
you're going top 3. Wow, that's a good run. That's
yeah.
I love the confidence. And have you studied it all? You talk to people. What is your poker experience like? Have you
Sure.
like what have you done any actual work on your game?
Yeah, I've done a good amount, but not since I was in college. I think that most of my knowledge comes from watching and absorbing poker content. I never had like a structured coach or anything, but I've definitely improved since I started. When I started in that poker group online, I went down 2,000 really fast. And then since then I went up like maybe like 15,000 in that group. And that's like what really taught me. And yeah, I think it was great. That group of guys, Jamie, Matt, Kevin, in Canada, they started such small stakes there.
Yeah.
That it was like it's fun to watch Jay Carver drop 10K, but I don't think I learned much when he plays, whatever 7-card Omaha stud.
He's doing mixed games.
Yeah.
And I respect his way of, he's a good buddy of mine. He did the running up Renos, and obviously COVID happened, and like the meetup, it was kind of like where everyone on Twitch and poker would come meet up. And he's like goes with a really focused stream with like one table. He hits the Twitch chat really well, one table. I like to play a lot of tables. A lot of these guys play a lot of tables. I find it's a little hard to follow too if you're watching poker and you're playing like 4, 6
It can
tables.
be for sure.
It's a bit overwhelming.
I watched so much Kevin though, because he was such small stakes and he had such an emphasis on improving. That I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do too. Mm-hmm. And so, I've learned a good amount. I think that I can take down most games with casuals. I feel pretty good about my odds. Most of the time, I feel like I have an upper hand.
Right. You probably do. It's poker is one of those games you really, if a little bit of work and effort and studying and understanding, you can go a long way. Kevin, actually, we did the stream house in Montreal for a week. That was a lot
Yeah.
of fun because we did a charity week-long stream, and
That's
Jamie got woken up every time. If for $100, he would get woken up no matter what. So like someone donate 100 and it'd be like 5 a.m. and one of the guys on their shift would come and just like jump on him and bring him down. And it was a lot of fun, man. I miss those times. I was like I said before, wife, kids. Streaming's easier once you have wife and kids and all that. It's
you got a life, man.
It's different. It's definitely different out there. Well, let's hit some questions because I know you're on a
Sure.
You got things going on, man. You're on a schedule. This isn't a 3 hour, just, whatever. We gotta dial in here, and someone's winning $100 in BTC, which is nice. Cause that could be, BTC has been hot. So let's get some questions in here. Funniest moment on stream. What's something that stands out for you? There's just like something ridiculous happened.
I would say, one of my favorite, it's not even on stream, honestly, but the thing that comes to mind is I made a video where I would donate to streamers with TTS, and I would advertise this merch company I made on the spot. I totally made it up. It wasn't my actual merch company. And I wanted to see if I could get sales, and it worked so shockingly well. I had like hundreds of visitors to my website that I had made an hour before.
Okay.
And I was just shocked at how well it worked. And yeah, that it was maybe not the funniest, but definitely is the most memorable.
And do you enjoy when you do the advertisements? Is that something that you're doing more, less of? Do you have a lot of do you have like set sponsors at the moment, or do you do more like kind of one-offs and stuff? What are some brands you work with that people would?
I have a few set ones with like Nord, Crunchyroll, ACR. We do a lot. I'm doing some stuff with Kool-Aid and now Slim Jim. I think that's pretty much it at the moment.
Very cool. Yeah, those are definitely some big brands. And we got a question here. These guys want to know about pain, man. How much have you won or lost on Pokemon cards? And you mentioned your friends were the ones investing. You got the content, which is brilliant. That seems like a nice way to do it. Anyone there won big or lost big on those Pokemon runs?
The thing is with Pokemon cards, it's like how do you win big? You win big when you get to see the cards. That's the big win. But look, I don't know. I've never sold it, and I haven't gotten any graded yet. So there's no actual achieved value. I will say I've spent about $100,000 though. Wow, so on the actual achieved value, no clue, because I haven't sold any. So the answer is 0 at the moment.
It's PSA just sold for 700 million recently, and they're it's about 10 months to get your cards graded back up, unless you spend 75 to 100 per one card. I think it's 3 to 4 weeks, but fascinating industry. It really is. It's crazy to see this. Some of the wealth people found, I'm sure, and so like there must be some great stories on people that like go and dig out some old cards and pleasantly surprised. Let's Craig Leonard here asking, has COVID pandemic helped or hindered your streaming career? And yeah.
Hey Craig, how's it going? Well, it helped. It helped a lot. I think every streamer was helped by COVID. It's the number one most growing industry during COVID. It grew a lot. So if you look at the numbers from Twitch, I mean, I'll say it. I'll keep it a buck. Twitch wasn't doing dog shit to grow their platform, and then they had double their biggest month ever early 2020 just because of COVID. They didn't do anything. More people were just online, and so the site blew up, and it's definitely why I blew up. I would not be at 20K average if I had not gone through COVID. It's just a fact.
Right.
Yeah, but it happened one day, just not as soon as it did.
Yeah, it's people. This question comes up a lot, and in general, people with poker playing as well. It's gotten more online. Poker's gotten more popular. It's kind of like a weird thing, right? Because it's like, all right, well, this is a terrible thing overall. It's like affecting people's lives, but like when you're asking specifically on what you're doing and what you're working on, and how does the platform respond? I mean, yeah, it's just one of the few things I think in the world, or few industries where it actually was really impactful in a positive way, at least in the streamer or the Twitch's perspective. We got Austin, I think Austin Snyder here, who is, I believe, in the chat live as well. He's asking, what are the biggest keys to live streaming and content creation, and how much of an investment does it take to grow and become profitable?
Not much. Like a Blue Yeti, a C920, and a functioning computer. Maybe 700 all in if you don't have a computer yet, but imaginably most people do at this point in their lives, especially if you're working or doing school from home. Even a laptop can work.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the bare bones. You could probably do it cheaper than that too. That's just what I used when I started.
Do you remember your first stream, and were you nervous? Like,
Yeah.
kind of like, was it like, did you have like a few people like you threw out to your friends, your
I
family?
had done commentary for Super Smash Brothers Melee, so I had like 1,000 followers on Twitter, and so I had about a classy 3 viewers, and I tweeted it out, so I would have like a rolling number of friends and different people in the scene come through, and I think that's a big lesson too that I took away is if you're gonna stream, you got to be proud of it, and you have to be willing to show it to your friends and family, and if you're not, then why are you trying to show it to me? I mean, that's rude in a way.
And when you graduate college, you get out of Arizona State, cum laude, I believe I saw. That sounds fancy.
Cum laude, 3.4 average and above. That's right, Jeff.
That's beautiful. Listen, I got to say it. I couldn't say it right, but it sounded fancy. I've heard the term. I know it's good. So you graduated. You didn't just skate by. You were in there. You put some stuff in and you made it. You made it through. So you're there. You get out of college. You're kind of in the world of Twitch a little or whatever. How did that conversation go with your parents? Or is it kind of like you're young, you're still, I mean, you're not even, you're 25. So are you in just exploratory land, whatever goes, or your parents like, you need to get a job? Are you like, no, I'm going to try Twitch? How did that kind of conversation go?
Well, it was part-time, right? I always had a job during this, except for one period where I was laid off. But when I got a job again, I was just doing Twitch on the side. And at the point where I went full time, it wasn't really even a decision. I was laid off from the job that I had again. So I was let go, and I just told my mom I was going to do Twitch because she knew. I told her like how it worked, and I had about 1,000 subs at the time, and that's enough. That's enough to pay the bills. And she didn't really get why people paid to sub, and I was like, shit, I don't know either, but we're gonna roll with it.
I'm not asking them, I'm just doing what I like, and they do what they like, and money goes in. I actually saw a note that you were one of the top 8 most subscribed channels on Twitch, which is again,
So,
yeah, that's a top 10 list you want to be on for sure. So that's congrats on that, and that's exciting. So you are, wow, we got, man, there's more questions. People, BTC, I was going to give it $100 party poker ticket, but not everyone can play party poker. I felt like we had to go with BTC today, guys. So everyone's eligible. And someone's telling a bad beat. Not going to read that one. Oh yeah, actor. I got you down as an actor. What is what is that? I put that on your resume. What is that?
Bold statement. I've done a few commercials or sketches with Beyond the Summit actually, and I think it's mostly because pretty face and no one else really wanted to do the job, and so that's really where the acting has come through. And I've done a couple commercials outside of them as well, but never a like a SAG acting guild thing. If anything, the only way I know how to act is acting for like a sketch comedy club.
Oh yeah, and tell me about you. You actually went and did the impromptu or comedy club in college. Yeah. Was that what made you go do that? Because that's pretty cool. I know that's not it takes, you got some balls to go up there, and it's kind of awkward, and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's just always I respect people that go and do that. So that's pretty cool. How was that experience?
Well, I wanted to do a cappella, and I didn't get into a club. And then I wanted to do comedy, and I didn't get into a club. And then this random guy named Forbes is making his own, and I joined it. And it actually turned out to be pretty successful.
And so is that something, when's the last time you've done that? Like, do you like, was
Zero.
that
Zero. I haven't done it since. But that's the thing. I mean, that's what I think streaming is. I think it's a very similar outlet in a lot of ways.
And you also were in a school play, Legally Blonde. You played Warner, is that correct?
Yeah, I did play Warner in Legally Blonde. Look, I love the stage. I crushed it. And it was definitely weird for me because my group of friends were much more the sporty type.
Right.
So, for me to go the choir route, especially late in high school, like junior year, was weird. But after seeing it, everyone kind of liked it. And the reception was pretty warm.
That's cool. That sounds like I never did the school play stuff, but again, like you said, it's not necessarily the jock approved path. So like if you kind of dip in there and have fun and make it cool, that's good.
I did it, and all of my jock friends were like, "Damn, I want to do a musical now."
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, if you do it right, like it's sort of risk reward. Like I feel like it could be, if it turns out well, you do a good job or the play is good and it's exciting, then that's people are trying to get in the next year of that. Longest stream you ever done? What's the most time you've been live for one session, roughly?
18 hours. I think I know that. It was my birthday 2 years ago. and haven't really come close. I think I did a 16, but I'm bad at it. I'm really bad. And then halfway through, I'm like, what the fuck is the point of this? I could just go to sleep and do 2 12-hour streams, which will be more successful because I won't be streaming at the dead of night rather than doing this 1 24-hour stream, which will have less average viewers overall. So I get mad halfway through.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it just I get separation anxiety too, and I leave. Like when I'm in the zone, I don't want to stop, but it just it doesn't work out better. It's similar to poker. You play a 24-hour session, you know, you're messed up after that. You're not. It takes a while to recover your energy, all that. So yeah, cool. That's a nice run. When did you actually start making videos on YouTube? Were you doing your own, or did you immediately get an editor, or did you just decide one day, all right, I should have this, and when did that turn on?
I wanted to do it. I think I edited maybe a couple videos, but pretty early on, I found Shake Drizzle, who's been my editor since. And it was maybe, I would say 9 months into streaming, 9-10 months into streaming is when I started doing YouTube.
And a lot of questions about biggest score. Do you have did you ever play live at casinos or in Arizona State? Did you ever go up to what's the one there? Talking Stick? Did you ever go play live?
Yeah, I definitely went to Talking Sticks a bit, and we definitely have gone to Vegas a bit. I don't know like if I have a live game that stands out. Probably playing terribly actually at one of my first. I'll tell one of my worst wins. How about that? Because I remember that more vividly. It was at Talking Sticks, and I went with $100, Jeff, and I thought I need more money to play poker, so I'm going to play blackjack because I've been winning in blackjack. I've just turned 21 here. And I was like, I'll just win in blackjack and then play poker. And then miraculously, I won like 300 in blackjack and I went to play poker. Bought in. It was like a weird 1-3 limit table. And I didn't really know the etiquette live because I'd only really played a bit online. Right. And so I'm in it and it's limit. And so I'm just folding, and I get jacks. And I'm feeling good.
Right.
I'm like,
solid hand.
I'm like solid. And so I put out max, and you know, it's only like, I think like $8. And then after the flop, it's like 24, something like that. 32. And it's just, it ends up being me and another guy after the flop. And we're max betting. He's calling. I think jacks are the highest cards on the table. There's nothing above. And the dealer points to me after the river, and I flip over my jacks, and then he says, no, it was your turn to bet. And I'm like, oh. So I pull it back, and then I just check the weakest check of all time. This guy just shoves in max bet 32. And by all accounts, this should be a call based off of how much I'm pot committed, yada, yada, yada. It's already a good hand, but I fold. I'm like, he saw what I had. This guy would not bet.
He took you to the next level and bet because he thought you knew. How could he bet when he knows what I have?
Jeff, he flipped over his hand. He had jack shit.
No, you had jacks full or top. You had good jacks.
I had an overpair. Yeah, I had a pocket pair that was higher than anything on the board. He had literally nothing, and I lost. And I very respectfully let the blinds come around 2 more times and then left the table.
Wow.
So that's my worst play ever.
Limit hold'em, it's so like boring or slow compared to no limit hold'em, but that's how I started myself, and it's still exciting. Like when you're in there, it's a casino, and you know you're playing for real money, but that's a tough. I've never
touched limit again, and I never will.
What about PLO? Do you like Parliament Omaha, the 4-card game?
I do. I think Omaha's fun as fuck, but that is at that point just degenerate for me because I have no idea what's going on.
That's a different game for sure. Definitely take it slow, one game at a time. You tell me. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not gonna cut you off. I'm gonna keep taking questions, and you tell me it's.
Oh, you're good. You're good for a bit, yeah, for sure.
Right, we're in the zone. I feel like there's some good questions being asked. So let's from the Twitter world. All right, biggest next goal. We already covered this, guys. He did touch about goals. People are asking how you are. Let's see. Would you? What's more important for you, love or a career? Well, interesting question. I mean, kind of deep, but like, I guess I'll just take it a different way. How do you find balance, your relationship, your friends? You mentioned earlier that one of the first things with, do Among Us and the friends, and it's like, it's getting, to do this, you got to make some cuts and adjustments if you want to stream. How do you kind of find balance with your personal life, streaming, family, otherwise? Do you have a good trick for that, or do you just, you know, how do you
No,
do that?
I don't think I'm particularly good at it. I think I really struggled early on, especially with just communicating with loved ones, like if they'd
Right.
send me a text, and I think I'm still not great at it, but it's something I put effort into, and I think that's the idea is I have to put very specific effort into this to make sure that I get better at it.
Right. And I think it's also hard probably for people to understand too. Like when you stream, it's a lot of time it's not just streaming. You know, you finish, you got to catch up on stuff. You got moderators, you got notes, you got giveaways, or you got whatever you have. There's like planning, you emails, and it's like it's a lot, right? And then when you're done streaming, maybe your family or your friends are, you know, your parents, so they're asleep, or like, and then your schedule, you wake up, you got to get going. So yeah, it can easily get kind of the balance can get, I think, thrown off very
Yeah.
quickly if you're not aware of it. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate on that. What about travel? Some of your favorite places in the world? We got my man who always wants to know if have you ever been to Argentina? Let's ask about that specifically, but then tell me about world travel.
I've never been in Argentina, but I've seen it on GeoGuessr a lot, and that place is fucking huge. I've traveled to, I mean, the place that I like the most is probably France because I have family in France, so I go there a lot, and I get to experience it less like a tourist because I'm with my family there who are French. So,
Right.
yeah, I really like going to France. That's probably the number one. But I want to go to like Japan or somewhere in Asia. I haven't been yet.
What about Brazil or any other places in the world? Like, have you traveled? What's the coolest place you've been? Most fun place?
The coolest place, I don't know if I've ever been anywhere especially cool. I've been a lot, mostly just to Europe because when I traveled as a kid, up to 18, I would say it was always to see family, and that's Sweden or France.
Right.
Uh, and there would be no reason to travel anywhere else because then we wouldn't get to see family that year.
Right.
So, you know, I went to Stoke-on-Trent, and I can't recommend it more in the UK.
Stoke. Okay. I'm not familiar.
Stoke-on-Trent.
Interesting.
Let me tell you, it's a little small town, but you'll love it.
Interesting. And you grew up in New Hampshire. What was that like? Was it small town or big town in New Hampshire? I mean, New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire's tiny, man. New Hampshire is like a population less than the population of Phoenix. It's
Right.
so it's like a little over 1 million. But you know, I grew up near the south of it, which I'm happy because it's definitely more industrial than the north. Closer to Boston. We have some cities like Nashua or whatever, but it was nice. It was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it.
And maybe might be onto something here. Maybe we're slime. He might, if he's watching, he may be getting scared. But what do you think about like a tour, like a world tour, where you do a year, go YouTube and travel the world, or just that it wouldn't make sense because
Actually brought that idea up to me.
Okay.
But I think tours have been done, and everyone who's done one swears it off and will never do it again because I think it is probably just so mentally and physically exhausting. And I don't know if it's the reward is good enough, you know, because not only are you mentally and physically exhausted from traveling around, like David Dobrik did a tour, and he said he'd never do one again.
Right.
But also you're not working on your YouTube or Twitch really because you're on tour and it's
Right.
not very easy to access streaming setups and all that. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the best.
It's tough, right? Like it's weird because we live in 2020 plus here, 2021. It's like feels like there should just be Wi-Fi and you could just walk around and be able to like upload. But you know, I know the Gun Run. I don't know if you're familiar with him or have heard of him on legend on Twitch and just what he's done. And he's made some cool backpacks and Annie Milonakis and some of these guys have done some of these in Tokyo or Japan in particular. You can do it, but a lot of parts of the world, you know, you're just not going to be able to really be live, and it's a different kind of a different vibe. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe not doesn't make sense at the moment for you. I think that I asked you about your best poker memory. You mentioned this limit. Well, kind of worst story. Do you have a score? Some of these ones you've done on Twitch are more like they're streamer stuff. Well, what prize have you won?
Probably the biggest, but I don't know if I count them necessarily because it's only 9 people usually, and they're all streamers who are sponsored to be there. So it's a free buy-in. So you know, it's not a free roll pretty much and so I've won it. I've won it like probably 4 or 5 times, and it's 2K every time. So that's my biggest win for sure, but it's not a conventional tournament by any means.
Right. I mean, hey, listen, 2K, that's a lot of Pokemon cards, you know. That's not bad. 2K at a time, that adds up. Favorite food?
I fuck heavy with I used to always say lasagna, and then I realized I hadn't had it in such a long time. But I'm really on a Sukumen kick right now.
I'm not
I like
familiar. What is that?
It's like ramen. No, sorry, you've never heard of Sukumen?
Oh, no.
Sukumen, Jeff.
Guys, can someone live? Whoever's here live right now, please back me up, man. I can't. If don't put me on there. Don't put me in that box.
It's a ramen with dipping. It's basically ramen, but you dip it into the broth. So rather than like how ramen, it's already in there and all mixed together. Like a different broth that feels like a little stronger, and then you dip the ramen, the noodles into the broth. And I fuck with it a lot.
I've never heard that. Interesting. Ramen, of course, man. Ramen. I remember beef chicken ramen growing up. I love college. Like that was made me happy. That was a very affordable. I'm putting it in see if anyone's heard of that. I have not heard of that. So okay, is that easy for streaming? Like, what do you eat when you're streaming? Something quick, a snack?
I hate eating on stream, but I'll try to eat like a quick thing or two, like a sandwich.
So when you have an 8, 10, 12-hour stream, whatever, do you take a break? Because poker, we get a break every hour, 5 minutes. Run, I'll wolf something down, have a snack every couple. What do you just go straight? Do you go use how often are you taking breaks?
My average streams are like 6 hours, and I try not to eat during it. But if I do, I'll just eat a quick snack or something. Maybe I'll order like a burger or whatever, something easy.
Wow, people are saying they're literally eating it right now, what you were talking about. So I guess I'm on I learned something new. I have not heard of that Sukumen. Someone asked, when did you buy your first BTC? I guess I kind of touched on this, but what do you think about cryptocurrency in general? Are you a believer or non-believer, whatever?
I have only money in Dogecoin for the meme. But I don't really consider myself a believer or non-believer. It's just that I'll never put the time or the effort into learning that. Because I think that's, it requires a lot of knowledge and probably isn't something that, I'll try to beat or get money on,
Makes perfect sense. What's the hardest part about having such a large number of people in the chat on your streams?
Too many subs. Too much advertiser money. Where does the list start? No, it's just maybe that I don't have the same relationship with some of the chat that I used to have, like a guy subbed for 2 years and I did not recognize the name at all. And that's, I think a little bit sad because I used to know most, if not all, my subs. But in general, I like to think I've always had this motto where I've streamed for one as I would for like 10,000. So my streams, I don't think I feel that they're too much different, but definitely some aspects have changed.
Let me what ratio or like now, so it starts out when you're early streaming, you start off and you call out everyone who follows, right? It's like people, you don't have many, so like, oh wow, that's so cool, everything kind of keeps going. At what point, like, was it, because you can't call out, people are subbing the primes, things are rolling through, right? Well, I don't know what your average let's say in the last few months per day in subs, but you're not calling out. Like it's not at that point where you're like, hey, thanks to this guy for subbing, that guy for subbing. So how do you do that? Or do you just randomly like call a few out? It's like donations, like how do you, or do you just not, like when you're talking, are you even acknowledging that stuff at all in the chat? Or are you just doing your show and they're kind of there and you look at a question? I went in your chat the other day, I subbed and I was like, hey man, looking forward to the pod. And I couldn't find my message. So I was like, oh, he's not even going to see this.
I thank you later. You just weren't there for it. It was actually such a big thank you for sure. It was whole thing. No, so I think like if I'm doing something like if I'm recording something for YouTube, right? I won't interrupt it for a sub. And I think that that's better because like if I'm watching and there's 20,000 people and one person subbed and the other 19,999 probably don't want to spend the 5-10 minutes of listening to me thanking people, even if that's maybe the right thing to do. So like at the start of the stream, I'll try to thank every single person. And then every 2 hours when a hype train comes, I'll usually do like a call out for primes and then I'll thank every person. But like I'll have basically a section where I'll thank. And then when it's not in that section, I won't because I just don't want it to get in the way of the content, which I think is why people are subbing in the first place. And, if the content just becomes thanking people, they probably wouldn't have subbed at all.
It makes a great point. But at some point though, you were calling follows, calling like subs, right? Like when it was not that.
Yeah, for sure.
It becomes like, and how do you to tag onto that question, what about interactions and at some point like YouTube and comments? And I remember when I started my YouTube channel, I was going through hitting the heart on every comment, try to reply. And then at some point you just, hey, there's only so much time to stream, do this and that. Like, do you look at any of that? Do you ever watch or say hi? Or it's just kind of like, not like, do you ever?
Occasionally, but like when it's naturally, I don't like specifically do it because like, oh, this would be good. It's like, oh, I wonder what people are saying. And then I'll check. And that happens maybe once every few videos, but Pretty rarely do I put the time into it to like respond to people. Just because I do that live on Twitch and I talk to chat there.
Absolutely. Profession. Well, let's take this direction on the question. What profession is it in which you project the most as a person? I'm not really. I get the question, but I'm just going to say, let's take it as, what would you be doing if you weren't streaming on Twitch? What do you think you'd be doing in the world? Like, as
I wanted to be a late night talk show host. That was my goal going into college. So I think it's pretty close.
It's more so. I mean, if you look at the numbers and stuff, like, I wonder what Tonight shows, and I don't even know. Honestly, I don't watch TV really. So like Conan or whatever it is, like
I don't know the numbers anymore. It's
currents and stuff. It's pretty crazy. It's got to be.
Oh, well, they get a couple mil for sure. So I think I got a ways to go, but they definitely don't have my sub count because they don't have subs on NBC. But we'll take that. We'll take what we can.
You got to take something somewhere. I love that. That's beautiful. That's top 8 on Twitch. I don't even know. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds like a good thing to be in that top 10. Let's take a few more and then listen. Like I said, I'm not going to quit you. So you kind of got to cue me out, man. I'm just going to,
classy, 2 more.
Classy. Okay. A lot of Argentina fans. I don't know if you noticed this. There's a lot of people really trying to get you to hone in on Argentina here. Yeah, they're in here, man. Okay. We kind of hit on this, but I do like it. And I guess let's just go back to this subject. Like, what got you started on streaming, and what is your advice for people who want to make leap? So let's hone on the first part. What got you, like, who did you see, or what actually spurred you to like take that step to start? What was the key moment for you?
So the key moment is actually my roommate Slime again, who had a podcast.
I got him on. This guy's like a fucking legend. What a name, Slime too. It's beautiful.
He had a podcast that he did on Twitch, and this is when I'm right out of college. And my first thought was like, I need to find a comedy club to keep doing this comedy thing. And he just had a podcast and he just ran it. And I was like, well, okay, yeah, I guess I can just do a Twitch stream because I've always watched them, but I was like, oh, I can't do it for XYZ reason. And he just said, fuck it, I'll just do it.
What's
and so
Twitch? Slime?
It's Slime IRL. Slime IRL.
Okay.
Yeah, that's him.
Nice.
So he did it, and I was like, oh, I can just do it too. And so I just did instead of a podcast, I just did my own stream, and then it worked out.
Very, very, very cool. It's funny. Isn't it funny, like the butterfly effect or whatever, sliding doors, these type of things, where one little decision or moment or introduction can just kind of change everything, and it right place, right time, right? You're just kind of in the right genre, right spot. What do you know about Burning Man? Have you ever been? Any thoughts on it?
Burning Man.
Yeah.
I think that one of my powers as a streamer is the fact that I am a homebody in a lot of ways, because if you want to adventure the world and be an outdoorsman, streaming will, as long as you're not an IRL streamer, will make you hate yourself. So I've never been to a Burning Man or Coachella. I went to some parties definitely at ASU, but I don't think I lived it up as most of the undergrads did even. So, I have not been to Burning Man or Coachella. Definitely at some point I'll have to, because, you got to do these things in life, but not yet.
The Burning Man, I'm biased because I met my wife there walking by in the middle of the desert, and she was from Brazil. And now, we got a baby, and it's kind of wild because I was like single for 8 years, just roaming around. And then next thing you know, it was game over. But I would highly recommend it. It's way different than any festival or whatever. It's something you got to do, man. You'll love it. It's like it's just that unique. But all right, last question then, guys. I'm going to take this here right now. I just copied the link. So someone's going to be eligible for $100 in Bitcoin. I will send you if you are one of the person who's selected. We're going to go over here. I'll start loading it up. I'll let you choose. So this is a fancy little giveaway tool from Grid Gaming. So we'll copy this. How do you do your giveaways? Like, what's your normal? Do you do any, like, do you do a rant is there a tool like Tweet Picker or something, or what do you use?
I honestly don't know. I don't usually do a Twitter one. But yeah, I'll use a site like this. Usually I don't have one that comes off the top though.
Okay. But so what are some of the, when you do giveaways, what is like you give away sponsors, give away stuff to give away?
Yeah.
Tickets, like what is?
The only giveaways I've done are like when it was really popular to give away an Animal Crossing Nintendo Switch, and that was for just juicy followers.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. It's yeah, I saw you were saying the Nintendo Oh, actually, I'm just gonna take the last question here. Sorry,
All
guys.
right.
I got to ask about esports and what's going on and what, like, do you believe in 5-10 years it's not gonna be the Dallas Cowboys, Manchester United, esports are gonna take, be like, wow, this guy owns esports, this guy's on this team, and the contracts and what's going on? Like, what is your feeling on esports as a whole? Do you believe it's just like infancy, it's the real deal? Do you think it's not going to work, like, in the long term? What's your kind of outlook on esports?
Oh, I would say no shot in 5 to 10 years, but I think it'll definitely grow. And I think that right now the main problem is that people think it's going to grow, and so they are trying to get it to grow too fast. And they're trying to like localize it and do a lot of things to it to make it like conventional sports, because it's conventional sports that are buying in that just don't really make a lot of sense, I think. So yeah, I think esports is hype. I think it'll get bigger. I just don't think it'll get bigger at the rate people think it will.
Right. Yeah, that's sort of exactly what I
The
think.
amount of money it costs to get an Overwatch team, it is absurd. It is 8 figures.
Yeah.
That is too much money. Overwatch does not get more viewers than XQC. And
Right.
XQC is not making 8 figures for one of his things. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess you're just, it's gambling at some degree. You just start listening to you start listening, or you start predicting what, you're looking ahead and what they believe. But yeah, I agree. I think it's a little bit longer for that type of stuff. All right, well, we're gonna wind down here. I did copy this. I'm loading up. I'm gonna let you tell me when to pick it. Let me just load up a lot of people in here, and then we're gonna give $100 courtesy of Ludwig and myself. We're gonna go do that and give you guys, well, we're gonna rip it. I'm gonna ship someone 100. So let's load it up, and then you just tell me when to click choose a winner.
All right. Now.
Right then. So here it is. Well, a little delay now. It's drawing. This is 100 in BTC. I hope they don't spend it. Look at this guy, Sneaky Deuces. I love it. It's even a poker name, man. So we got the Sneaky Deuces. You got $100 in BTC coming, and I appreciate your time, man. Thank you very much. Hope we get to do this again. You're a legend. I'll be checking out your stream later. Try to, you need a tracker on that. When I say hello, I want you to try to find it in that forest of chaos. So I'm gonna come say what's up, man, and thank you.
Right.
Great to get to know you, and all the best, man. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's number 117 in the books. Absolute crusher on Twitch all across the board. Give him a follow and say hello on his stream. He'll be on later today. And we have got Chris Moneymaker. That is going to be number 118 on Friday afternoon, I believe Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, and some big podcasts lined up next week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely learned some new stuff, and it's not my specific world on some of those games and things he's doing, but it's just amazing to see. You can see within 2 years, Ludwig, it's Ludwig. He is just killing the game. Over 20,000 concurrents and just blowing up on his content and channels. And really, you can tell, great personality, a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Congrats to the winner. I'm going to message Sneaky Deuces right now for that $100 in BTC. And cheers, everyone. Appreciate you very much. We'll see you soon.